So let's talk about Spaces Protocol. We can continue our discussion on how Spaces Protocol can be used to identify AI agents versus humans. How can we tell if it's a bot or a human through Spaces Protocol?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to be, if any of you listening to this are in the Atlanta area, I am going to be having a little lunch and learn at my local Bitcoin meetup location coming up Wednesday, and we're going to be talking about this very topic. Maybe I'm kind of approaching it from a how do you distinguish a bot from a human that you're interacting with? I think if you jump straight into electronic sort of mechanisms for maybe trying to do this, anything that's electronic can be copied, right? Except for, of course, Bitcoin.
That's the invention.
So things like, I mean, imagine things like keyloggers, like something watching you type in, if illicitly like on your computer that's like watching you type in stuff, or even cameras that are like looking over your shoulder that may be seeing something written down. I mean, these are all real things. And I thought I would start the discussion by, I call it secret handshake, but I thought, let's go back to like the time before electronic, before the internet. And how was it done back then? I mean, because we know these things existed, like, clubs and groups and stuff that wanted to make sure that their membership was, had a certain, we can go back to like things like trade guilds and, the Knights of the Round Table and like, look at some of these human things, right? How did, spycraft, like putting a special, you go up to somebody in the street and you say, the rain in Spain, and the other guy says lies mainly in the plain or something like that, right? It's like and any casual observer, they might just think you're talking about the weather, but that to you is knowing that ahead of time to expect it, and that signals you that the other person could be trusted, that is part of the group, that is a human. And so I think that's where I wanted to start the discussion. It's like, things like seals and, secret ink and code words and stuff are all mechanisms that you can use. And why is it important? Well, I think as we move forward, we see other stuff. I got a couple of things. I saw that this Molt book is like, these agents are like socially like replicating like human sort of tendencies. Like there's things that where they're have their own like social media. This is Molt book thing was kind of a Reddit like social media for AI agents. So it's like, in this case, how do you prevent
crazy.
Humans from participating in something that's supposed to be a social media network of agents, right? So this question, I think, is an open one that that is important in our time, is how do we identify that the other person is. Now, to bring it back to Spaces Protocol, well, maybe you imagine a scenario where, in order to kind of, maybe you have to meet somebody physically first, and then maybe there is some sort of task that's required of them that involves the Spaces Protocol. Maybe it's like, here, let's bring up, Spaces Protocol, and I'll share this one quick. For those that are watching that haven't watched all of our stuff, the Spaces Protocol has an explorer called, go to spacesprotocol.org for all the info. This is what they call the explorer. So I say, okay, Jason, we meet in person. I see who you are. Maybe if I haven't met you before, I ask you to present an ID. Now, of course, IDs can be faked, right? So it's like, okay, great. Here's what I want you to do, Jason. It's like, go find this thing called Spaces Protocol. let's Akron, go to this site called Akron. It's a Spaces protocol wallet. It's akron.io for those folks that are following along. Download this thing, fund it with some Bitcoin. So you got to like give up some sovereign value by just doing that. Open a space, and only you and I know it. But let's call it. I don't know. Let's call it Jason 1. Or how about secret without not spelled properly, 9423 or something like this, right? It's like, okay, let's just make sure. I doubt, yeah, it's available. Okay. So I say to you, okay, I need you to like go register secret SECRT 943. And I need you to like go through the process of bidding on it, opening it up. And because of the way Spaces protocol works, it's at a minimum 11 days for you to get this from opening the bid to registering it. And once you've registered it, then you can sign a message. I might say, here, Jason, have a message, says, I am Jason, but I need it to be signed by this private key associated with this top level domain. So, and then if you can do all that, then we'll know for sure that you're a human, and we'll then use that signing key to like do other things electronically to that we interact with each other. And I'll always know that you are who you say you are because you went through this whole process and now control the keys behind that top level name. So are agents, are bots going to do that?
Well, the bots can't do it in the physical realm. So I think the hard part is the digital realm. Now, could we run this same exercise strictly digital? Now, we can meet like this digitally, or maybe we don't even meet and show our faces digitally, but we connect digitally in some form of communication. Would just me simply signing a Bitcoin transaction or a Nostr event with my Spaces handle, would that be enough to validate my identity?
Well, I mean, maybe it all depends on what level of sort of, what we're willing to accept, in agreement as evidence that we are who we say we are, right? I mean, AI, I know, for instance, that, you have purple drapes. We've seen it, through several weeks of episodes. I've heard your voice a lot in different contexts. I've seen your face over Zoom calls, but could all that be faked with AI?
Probably.
I mean, we've seen situations where a human-looking person, they like with face tracking and everything, someone else can pretend to be a different person and with voice and look and gesture like in real time. So if all that can be faked, it becomes it's back to a question of like what amount of effort is someone willing to go through to produce the fake, right? So like maybe Andrew or Jason, it's not worth the effort. But if you were like, Kobe Bryant or somebody like that, where you have a high value personality, net worth, you're very recognizable, and you carry a certain amount of like authority or like, popularity. So someone like that, or president or something like that could be, maybe that's worth it. Maybe that's worth doing a lot of effort to like pretend to be that person, which is kind of why I started with the meet in person thing and kind of like the whole like spycraft. What are some of the things that humans do that AI can't do? And looking into this a little bit, some of the things are like, if I interact with you and then later come back and say, maybe we talk the first time we meet and tell me a few things about your childhood. right? And then I make a note of those. And then later on, I'm like interacting with you and I ask, like, oh, well, tell me, where was that? What street did you live on when you were in third grade? You know, and you'll be able to recall that because you have a long context, you have a long history of memory, right? But even somebody impersonating you might get tripped up by that same question, right? Uh, maybe the second time we're on the phone or something, and I think I'm talking to you, but then I ask you that question, suddenly you can't answer it. It's like, wait a second, is that really Jason I'm talking
Right.
to?
Yeah.
Maybe this isn't right. So I think, and I've been thinking a lot about this, like tying these things back to atoms in the real world
Mhm.
is I think potentially an important component to it, but I haven't thought through it enough. That's kind of why the discussion is going there next Wednesday, and I just think it's going to be interesting and more increasingly important. Whether Spaces plays a part in it, that you could build a system around it. One thing that we know from understanding Bitcoin is like it is bound to energy. So you can't just like haphazardly change it or alter it. That's
Mhm.
the whole
Mhm.
beauty of Bitcoin. And so we have this system that's bound to energy that can't be messed with, that gives us an electronic component to this,
Mhm.
whereas other things can't. And other blockchains can't, like proof of stake chains can't, completely. They can be pretty good, but we're talking about complete assurance. So I think, something that's based on the blockchain, but then has its own set of timing and rules that's what a protocol is, right? It's a set of rules around something. And I think it could be levered for that. Maybe this becomes, one of the main uses of Spaces protocol going forward, because it may be one of the more needed things, maybe things that we kind of always tout as the first thing that Spaces protocol, replaces, like DNS. The counter argument is going to be, well, DNS works all the time. I've never known
Mhm.
DNS not to work for me. Well, yeah, you're right. It's always there. So what's the point? It's like there's got to be more use cases for Spaces protocol than just that. And privacy and signing and assurance of who you are and your identity, I think, it could be a really useful one. And just the absolute sovereignty, the no counterparty, the like, this name is my name. I own it. There's no one can wrestle it from my fingers, right? Even if the whole, power of the US military wanted to get my top level Spaces name away from me, they couldn't. Like if I register, I don't know, USAF, let's just, hey, it's available, US Air Force, right? Let me get it. And if the US Air Force decides, no, that's ours, we want it, we want to start issuing identities to every US Air Force service member, and we need that USAF, you can like, it's mine,
Right.
you know.
They do that with the
You
DNS, the ICANN, all that. They take all those names.
they can take names, yeah. I mean, they've got the top level .gov, but still, or in .mil, um,
But
but still, yeah,
even if somebody registered it, they would just take it away. They reserve,
yeah.
they reserve these top levels.
It's not that they can't take it away. It's like they can't take it away by force. They can
Yeah.
take it away through legal action. And that's probably where they would go, right? They would say, this is a brand or trademark or something determined to be, of military
But what if
grade,
you lost the keys?
use.
What if you lost your Bitcoin keys to your space? How could they get it?
Well, then they would have to wait a year for it to expire. And then they would have to compete in the open market. They would
Sounds
have to watch for it. Then
sounds
they would
pretty
have to
fair.
compete in the open market for it. And if somebody else, make up some acronym that's, the user survey of autistic friends or something, right?
That's us.
That is a group, right? Had we've got $1 billion, and we're in a bidding war with the U.S. government. Of course, they can print fiat, and keep
But Bitcoin,
upping the
no.
bid, right?
It's in Bitcoin. These auctions are in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is
Yeah,
limited.
but when you can just print money and give it to Kraken, and they'll transfer it into Bitcoin, then effectively they have the fiat money
Yeah.
printer advantage.
But it has to be self-custody Bitcoin, right? Because it has to be on the main chain, on the Bitcoin blockchain. So that's pretty good. Can't be a
Right.
derivative.
And if they're pushing the price of Bitcoin up by their, desire to get this top level name, then it's benefiting everybody that's a current holder of Bitcoin.
Yep.
So, I mean, there is that too. So anyway, a funny, it's a bizarre example,
Now
but
let's say though that they wanted Andrew at UASF. So you got the top level UASF, or whatever it is, USAF.
right.
You got the top level. You issued a subspace Andrew at USAF, and you took it on chain, and now you lost the keys. How could they get that?
Then you can't.
There's no way.
There is no way. Once a subname has gotten on chain, it is no longer the operator. That's what we call the operator of the top level domain. Is outside of their ability to make any further changes to that.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah, it's an amazing property of Spaces protocol, and we'll just have to see if some of these kind of edge cases that we kind of think about at times work themselves out or not.
Self-sovereign digital identities. It's pretty powerful.
So when you think about it, it's pretty powerful. I think it's not something people really understand that much. Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, before we wrap up, I'm going to be holding a workshop at the Bitcoin conference in Vegas end of April and about this. So if you are attending the Bitcoin conference in Vegas this April, look for a Spaces protocol workshop. I'll be presenting that, and I will be giving away top level names at Bitcoin 2026 top level name.
That's awesome. So that's official then.
Yeah.
Breaking news.
It's official. And you can see if you want to front run me and get this top level name, you can't, because
that's awesome.
I already got it. Set up. So
locked it in.
All right. Locked it in. Don't want to talk about something until you've got the keys in your hand.
That's right. Self-custody.
So that's right. So anyway, so yeah, hopefully it'll be fun. Please come out, talk to me. Well, I'm happy to talk about this all day long. Oh, was I sharing? Come on now.
Nope. Sharing our
faces. Wasn't. All right. Sorry about that. I'll just flash this up. I gotta be better about that. I was trying
there it
to
is. Bitcoin 2026.
Yep.
Looks good.
It is registered. So anyway.
So what are you going to do with that? So you're going to bring that to the Bitcoin conference in Vegas in April. You're going to, are you just going to give out subspaces? So Jason at Bitcoin 2026?
No. Well, yes, if you're there and participating, but there's a bit, as you know, is a little bit of a process. You have to send me a certificate request.
Okay. So you'll have your laptop though, right?
Yeah. Well, I will, but if there's people, let me share again here. Sorry, and then we'll kind of end on this, I think. So there's two types of activities that you can, if you want to. Now, Jason and I are going to talk about setting up the software in an upcoming episode. But the easiest way to get a name that you want for yourself, a top level name, is to download this Akron wallet, akron.io. That gets you into the process of bidding and securing and registering. you have to put some Bitcoin in there to participate that. There's another thing called Nacho, which is Nacho IO. No, it's not IO, is it? Is it? No, hang on, folks.
No, I think that is it, but it's just not out yet, right?
No, I thought it was.
Nah, I don't think so. That's the at Bitcoin subspaces.
Yeah.
Maybe you can go to the
Nachos.
easy nacho recipe, the GitHub.
Yeah.
Would it be on the GitHub? I don't think it's out yet, though. I think the only thing that's out is the mobile app for Apple and Android.
Oh, maybe that was it. Yeah, let's look at App Store. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm a developer, so that's why it's trying to go to the development. Hang on.
Just throw it in
Sorry,
Google.
folks. Yeah.
There you go. Which makes me think, will we have a decentralized search engine of some sort where it doesn't keep your data and things like that? I wonder if something like that could be built.
Yeah.
Think about all the power that Google has by getting everyone, the whole world's search history to know what's popular and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Why am I not finding it? Nacho.
I have it on Android.
I thought they had it also in App Store. Maybe they didn't.
Is there a web-based, Google Play Store?
Search Nacho. Oh,
There it is.
Here it is. All right. So this is an Android app.
Hey, 50 plus downloads, not terrible.
So what it allows you to do is to request a subname, and you can put in a request, like frog at Bitcoin, and then you add it to. So what is it doing? It's actually creating a key pair when you first initialize the app, and then each one of these requests are what we call a derivative of that key pair. So each one is unique, but they're controlled by the passphrase that you set up with the app itself. So once you have one of these things set up, and it's just a matter of just asking for it, then you end up making a request. I don't know if any of these screenshots.
So you ask for it, but there's a fee, though. I believe you can't. They're not just giving them away for free, right?
Well, the at Bitcoin ones, they are not, but that doesn't mean if you're a top level space owner that you have to charge for it.
That's true, right? But this one in particular, yes.
Say we make one Jason and Andrew show, and we just want to give away the ones. What's required is that and I don't see a screenshot of it, but requires that you would then have to send the name operator, the top level name operator, the request for that certificate name, and then the operator would make sure that no one else has already gotten it, because you can't reissue more than one. And assuming that it's clear, maybe in the future they give you a way to check that yourself. But assuming it's clear, and they say, and they're not charging you for anything, then they add you to what's called a zero knowledge proof set, and then the hash of the top of that proof set is then committed onto the Bitcoin blockchain. So evidence of your subname is forever embedded on there. That's the proof that subname works. And then they return to you the actual certificate, which can in itself be proven without looking at the blockchain that it's valid. Maybe we'll get into that in another discussion.
That's a good topic.
But this is this is the kind of mechanism that I'm going to use for the workshop at the
All right, now,
Bitcoin.
so that's one way, right? So the user comes and I'm like, hey, Andrew, I want to send a request to you for
Right.
Jason at Bitcoin 2026. That's one way. So that's from user to operator. But isn't there another
Right.
way for the operator to just say, you know what, I'm just going to make all these,
Sure.
right? Okay, so operator can do it as well.
Yeah, the operator can just, there's a mechanism in the command line of the operator code that just says, make them up, add them. Like I'll add Jason, I'll add Andrew, I'll add, my dog's name because I don't want someone else to have it. And it's yours. I mean, it's the whole point. It's like the top level name is yours, it's your property. You can see fit to do with whatever you want to do. Maybe you use these top level names to get into a special club website. You might remember what was it? The apes? What were they? The
Bored apes?
The Bored Apes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Those were NFTs, not on Bitcoin, but they were NFTs that you had to purchase, and then that got you access into like websites and events and things that only the other Bored Ape NFT owners could get into.
Yeah.
So similar things can be done with this. So it's like, sky's the limit to think about.
Really is.
Maybe one of our listeners will have an awesome idea and build something cool.